You can hide as a bear.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, or panther, but sure, we'll go bear. Because of course you can only turn into eagles or bears. That's the
Ducks underneath the log.
I can still see it. No, you can't.
It's like Winnie the Pooh butt sticking out the log. Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons and Dragons fix. I'm Kevin Odie.
Jared Bornagle.
And I'm Will Melton.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This week we're looking at the Druid Rogue multiclass, and then later on the Orthon. So pull up a chair and stick around for a while.
All right, so this week our multiclass is the Druid Rogue. The Druid, a full spellcaster, uses nature for its spellcasting and also has its wild shape ability where it can turn into varying challenge ratings of monsters. Then we have the Rogue, which is the stealthy opportunist. Main class feature is their sneak attack, where they can pack a huge punch on a single hit in their turn. On their turn. That is important to note. The Druid multiclassing requirement is 13 in Wisdom, whereas the Rogue's multiclassing requirement is a 13 in Dex. First thoughts, turning it over to Will. I hate this.
No. I don't know enough about this to really... I don't know. This is...
Role-playing wise.
Role-playing wise?
Yeah, right off the bat.
I see no reason why the roguish skills would not fit in with a druid. We talked about this on last week's podcast. The urban barbarian, while not the default, is a thing that exists. The urban druid, while probably even less thought of, there's no reason it shouldn't exist. Imagine a druid who focuses on turning into a rat or a cat and surviving in the worst kind of neighborhoods. They'd pick up some roguish stuff, right?
I guess that's one way to look at it. So they're like just dropped in the streets after being raised as a druid, and now learn your ways.
You're raised in a forest. Those forests don't last forever. The way industrialization works in the realm, eventually maybe it got cut down, maybe it got burned down,
Okay, so that's kind of an interesting way to think about it, where maybe they are still trying to protect or bring back their homeland.
Something like that.
Which is now, city, and because of that, they're keeping out of the eye. Maybe they're, I don't know why this comes up so often, but eco-terrorist is the first thing that comes to mind. Where
every time it's a druid.
Yeah, every time it's a druid. Druids are just unhinged, man. I don't know what's up with them. But they're now living in society and want things to go back to the way that they were. Might be a little bit extreme and hard to work into a party, but it makes a great villain.
Hell, even if you gave up and you're like, my forest is gone and the city's here and you just can't leave that area, I could see a druid picking up kind of roguish tendencies.
Yeah, okay. I can see that. Kevin, first thoughts?
Yeah, mechanically, I think this one is really, really close to being super cool, but then because of specific wording, completely falls flat.
Oh, interesting.
That being wild shape will not trigger sneak attack.
Yeah. So that takes out almost completely Circle of the Moon, where you're expected to be wild shaping for combat. And reason for that is because you need a finesse weapon?
Yeah, finesse or ranged.
Okay.
And if you... I couldn't find any beast stats they're saying it's a weapon attack, it's not a finesse.
No, they don't specify that.
Or a beast with a ranged. I'm sure there's a couple... I know, the giant ape could throw a rock, and that's a ranged attack, but that's challenge rating, I think, 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah.
The only thing higher coming up is Manticore, and I don't even think that's a beast.
Yeah, I don't
it
think
might
so.
It might be, but it's a high-level one, either way.
Yeah, cause if you take a Druid, a Circle of the Moon Druid, all the way to 20, you could morph into a challenge 20 divided by 3, rounded down, so 6.
Okay.
The highest you're going to get is 6.
Yeah. So even if you do get something that's ranged, it's not going to be until those later levels. And yeah, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to find a time where those two overlap. So what about the idea of it being more of like the rogue arcane trickster subclass, where you're a rogue who's got some flavored spellcasting? I think that, though still not probably going to be my favorite thing mechanically, might be a little bit more viable.
It still doesn't really work, though, because even with all subclasses taken into mind, the rogue is sneak attack, and that's like what they are.
Right.
So we got to kind of abandon that. So that might combine okay with some of the spellcasting ones, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Druid spellcasting is definitely more battlefield control, as well as, I guess just that. Battlefield control with a very little bit of support thrown in.
Yeah, so Druid, like they get Entangle, where it could restrain, and so then you can attack things with advantage and give yourself sneak attack.
Right.
Fairy Fire allows you to get advantage. You can cast Hold Person.
Right. And since rogues don't have other spells, they're not really stepping on each other in any way. You are kind of giving yourself some benefits. I like the idea of a Druid Assassin is actually something that I think would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
You're with the Emerald Enclave, which is a very well-established druidic order. Well, I don't know if druidic is the right thing there, but they're nature warriors.
They speak for the trees.
They speak for the trees. They're the Lorax group. And so they have some things that need to be done. And if you're the Druid Assassin rogue, then I think you're the perfect person to do that. So I think flavor-wise, those two can go over pretty well together. And then I don't think it matters so much what Druid subclass you go with that in mind. But I kind of like just Circle of the Land for the flat, that's a Druid. I don't think there's any like specifics to the Circle of the Land that makes them
kind of right. They're the druid.
Right. And you can just say, okay, you're from this area, you're from this area. You've got your not favored terrain, your land circle, whichever one it is. So I feel like that one lends itself to flavor well with, I won't say any of the rogue classes, but a lot of them. So that one could work well. Circle of the Moon, again, I think we're just going to have a lot of problems with. But what I like about that Druid Assassin is the fact that you can wild shape into a rat or whatever, get to where you need to be, and then kill somebody in their sleep.
Yeah, I think that's a cool combo, yeah. You could use the non-Circle of the Moon wild shape, the non-combat wild shape, basically, to be able to infiltrate things very, very easily. Then you pop out of it and then attack.
Right.
And then if you have the Assassin subclass, where if you have a surprise round, it's a guaranteed critical. You get advantage and a guaranteed critical. It's I think Circle of the Moon Wild Shape is a decent way to do that, because like you're a spider on the wall and then you drop down and poof out of it. And it's like, if I was the DM, I'd give that as a surprise round.
Oh my God, if you didn't.
Who wouldn't be surprised by a spider turning into some humanoid and shooting them in the chest with a heavy crossbow?
No, not even that. Like you're on the ceiling above them.
Right.
And then you like detach yourself, and as you fall, you morph back with a dagger and just boom, fall down on them right in the neck.
Not a rapier. If you try that with a rapier, you lose your surprise.
Ooh.
I like that though. That's incredibly edgy and will never come up in a campaign, but I like it.
I would think it definitely can.
We had our own conversation about when an assassin might come up in a campaign, and that was a different rogue multi-class.
It's still tough.
Tough. You need to be in the right campaign. That's basically what it comes down to.
With this though, since with wild shape, you could turn into something so not noticeable, innocuous. Is that the right word there? That doesn't sound like the right word.
I mean,
I guess so.
Not dangerous.
I don't know. It's not important. Anyway, something where you're really not going to be noticed.
Inconspicuous?
Sure, there you go. Yeah, you're a spider crawling along the tunnels in the Underdark, and you scout ahead a little bit. We're talking like 30, 40 feet. Let me go see what's around this corner type stuff. And you see there's these enemies here. So you go back, you communicate with your party, and then
you get that scouting as well.
And then you say, let me start this.
Mm-hmm.
And you go on the ceiling and you do that thing. And you doing that, then that's everyone else is holding their action, whatever. And that triggers them to then run in.
Right. Or, if you, if it is more of like a single focused event where you specifically are infiltrating a place and taking somebody out, you can also wild shape to get out of where you are, which is pretty nice. So you drop down on this political figurehead that you need to assassinate, and then before anybody even comes
Prime
in,
Minister of Malaysia.
What? No. Where are you going with that?
That was Zoolander.
Yeah, have you not seen Zoolander?
Oh, okay. All right. No, all right. You got me there. Yeah, so, you turn into a spider, you get into where you need to go, you assassinate the person you need to assassinate, and then you poof back into a spider as guards rush in from the ruckus, and all they see is a spider. They're not going to be like, apprehend that spider. And they're like, I didn't bring tiny enough and enough handcuffs for that thing.
So you probably don't even notice the spider.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Controversial counter signal. In this realm, there'd probably be tons of druid assassins. And every cop force would have, 4 pairs of tiny handcuffs. Because they're just so used to this shit.
I totally disagree. I don't think that would be an extremely common thing. I mean,
No, it's a hard path to follow.
Right.
We've talked about this before. There's no clear way to druidify yourself.
right.
And druids generally kind of shy away from the rest of society more so than probably any other class.
Yeah.
So it is a complicated and rare combination.
Mm-hmm. So I think you'd be unique, which is cool. And yeah, you've got some cool ways. I really think in gameplay though, the most often used thing will be what you were talking about, where you scout ahead, you see, hey, there's 2 guys here. I'm going to take one out by doing huge damage to start, where my party will then follow up. And for that, you really don't need a huge dip into Druid. I think even two
levels.
Yeah, 2 levels, and you get your wild shape a couple of times.
It's 2 until level 20. That doesn't scale at all. And you get it for an hour. So
It's about the length. Length
half
is
your
your
Druid level. But I mean, an hour is a good amount of time.
totally.
For an assassination.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need longer than that, then you messed up.
You could also use it for thievery. A thief would probably also really benefit from this.
Right. The idea of a druid being a thief
Also,
makes
how
me
would
feel
they
weird.
take the stuff?
Quote unquote equipment phases into your.
It does. You're right.
Yeah.
So you got a backpack on, you fill it up, and then you morph away.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
But
that's
not
how
a
would you-
campaign thing.
Yeah, how would
No.
you play that in a party?
But, you know,
What's our grand cause? Steal a bunch of rich people's shit. No. What about the realm? But shit, we're just gonna steal it.
a little bit more messed up of an idea, and I don't know if a druid would be super down with this, but the person that you need to spy on has a cat. So you kill the cat and take its place. Maybe you don't need to kill it. I don't think a druid would kill it. But, you know, you remove the cat from the equation in whatever way you think. There's more than one way to remove a cat from a D&D campaign. And you turn into that cat specifically and start, you know, following around this person to gather information. That's something that I think works really well.
That is so unbelievably specific, but I love it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like-
No, when was the last time you mentioned a major character's favorite pet?
You should, well, I guess never, but I'd throw it in.
Yeah.
Now I want to. I think that's pretty good flavor.
I say, or if it ever comes up, it's because it's a weird, unique pet. They have like a pseudo dragon on the shoulder
Right.
or something. A druid cannot turn into stuff like that.
Oh, who was the guy with the octopus? You remember that guy?
That was a guy in Storm King's Thunder?
We were on his boat and he had a pet octopus.
Did I make that up?
I don't remember,
It
man.
sounds like you made it up.
That does
I
sound,
do remember that.
that does sound like something I'd make up.
He'd walk
but-
around with an octopus on his shoulder. I'm like, man, he can't breathe like that. So I think you made it up, but
I don't remember.
that's
I don't think
perfect
so.
example
I
of
think
you
that was
saying
Storm
that.
King's Thunder.
All right.
I'm almost positive that there was some boat that you guys infiltrated.
Yeah,
that was so
for sure.
long ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, there are times, yes, when people have pets and you can, again, remove the pet from the equation in whatever way you think is most apt and then take that form of the pet. I think that's a really cool way to use this. So, I mean, we're talking a lot roleplay wise. I think mechanically, this one honestly comes down to it's pretty simple. You either go really far into rogue and you've got some spells that can help you out with these types of things or from, I don't know, whatever else. But if you try and do it the other way, where you go 3 levels into rogue and like 17 into druid, I think you're going to feel like those rogue are pretty wasted.
I will say one thing that's an exception is probably the spore druid.
Yeah, I say spore druids. I think works really well with this because it gives you another use of what.
I hate that RP combination.
Why?
Sell me. Come on.
All right. Here's the sale. This is from Ravinica. Ravinica is basically like the Coruscant of weird fantasy realms from Wizards of the Coast. If you are a spore druid, you are kind of almost devoted to this rot, this decay, this death. You live under the city. But you still got to do stuff on the surface. This is actually a perfect example of somebody who would live a roguish lifestyle regardless if they picked up the roguish skills.
They like live in a sewer.
Yeah, they're good at not being found. They're good at being in the darkness. That's where they prefer to be. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think it fits really well.
Okay. All right.
And if you don't want to play in Ravnica, even just like in Waterdeep or Baldur's Gate or something like that,
I don't know what the underlevels of Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep are like.
Sewer systems.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they full of kobolds? Though?
Probably.
No.
No, I think they are.
In Waterdeep, they're filled with Xanathar's guild members.
Oh, and Xanathar's down there, too.
Hey, and that's a roguish bunch.
Yeah.
Could be a member of Xanathar.
Yeah, and they use you for your fungal abilities. Yeah, I don't know.
You just want me for my fun. The only mechanical issue there is the rogue does have a reaction that they may want to use quite frequently, and that's the having damage thing.
Yeah, that's what is that called?
Uncanny dodge.
Uncanny
That's at
dodge, 5th level. Yeah.
But just like a 3-level dip in the rogue, we've talked about it every time rogue comes up, gets you a lot. You get expertise, so you get double proficiency bonus and some skills. Your basic sneak attack, so it doesn't level up too much, but cunning action, so you can like disengage or dash as a bonus action, and then the first thing of your roguish archetype.
I think
So that's where you get assassinate, or like the scout ability, where you could move up to half your speed as a reaction when an enemy ends his turn within 5 feet of you, give yourself good mobility and stuff like that. Also roleplay wise, I think scout and druid
kind of work well.
fits well. Yeah,
It reminds me of
spend
that.
a lot of time out in the wilderness.
Reminds me of that ranger subclass.
No, here's why you would
I think
have
it's called
you'd have a
Scout.
druid scout multiclass is because you could not convince any of your friends to roll ranger.
Yeah,
But like in a meta sense, like
Right.
the entire tribe could not find anyone to become a ranger.
because everybody's just going, "Oh, I wish there was a ranger in my party."
Man, have you seen those top levels? I can't do it. I'm going druid rogue.
No, I mean, I guess you're right. I think what also works well is a lot of times druids are limited to using either their cantrips or using their shillelagh ability for a melee attack. This allows them to use a more useful melee attack if they level up their dex even a little while they're concentrating on some other spells. So I think I could see a 3-level dip into rogue, at least keeping them kind of consistent with damage, but I worry that you're going to find your cantrips start to outpace even the sneak attack damage.
For a druid?
For any class. Again, cantrips aren't tied to class level. Or
But
to
if you look at what
class level,
druids really do not have an arsenal behind them.
Not a ton, but I mean, they get some stuff like, I think they get Acid Splash, don't quote me on that one, but they do get Thorn Whip, which...
Whip sucks.
Yeah, but it scales again with level. You know, I'm just thinking, like, is it really great to have an attack that does, like 3 levels in rogue? We're talking about one attack that does 1d6 plus 2d6 plus whatever your dex is. I mean, it's not
I always forget,
that great.
But yeah, it really does start low.
Yeah, it starts with 1d6.
Right. So until you... Oh, it does. Yeah, so...
Which makes sense. Like,
yeah,
that's
that's fine.
but-
So, I mean, if you get to 5th level,
So
which
third level
isn't a
is
bad one.
2d6. Yeah.
Yes, 5th level's not bad with Rogue. You get Uncanny Dodge, so you can use your reaction, which Druids aren't reaction heavy by any means. The Spore
Unless
Druid
you're a
is.
Spore. That's
Spore
fine.
Druid is. So, you get your reaction for Uncanny Dodge. You get 3d6 for Sneak Attack. Then I think you're going to have a hard time getting outpaced on the cantrip side.
Yeah, so in terms of damaging cantrips, they get Frostbite, which is that's a d6, so not actually.
No, that's
Not a
really
lot
not
there.
great.
That's from
they get Poison Spray. That's the
Elemental Evil, I
d12,
think.
but it's only 10-foot range.
Right. Well, yeah, that's totally fair. Because
And Thunderclap, which is the d6 AoE.
yeah, so their main thing really is Shillelagh. So I think, yeah, you're going to get something out of that, most likely. But it does somewhat force you to go down that rogue path potentially longer than you wanted. You're already, and the number one issue with multiclassing into Druid is that level 20 ability becomes never established. So you'll never get your wild shape, unlimited use, whatever.
I don't think we've ever actually talked about this, but the rogue one doesn't really tickle my fancy.
The level 20 rogue ability?
It's not bad. It's actually incredibly
Which
good.
one is that?
Actually, yeah, don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Stroke of Luck.
Yes.
Oh, can't you just make a miss a hit?
Yes.
If your attack misses a target within range, you can turn the miss into a hit. Alternatively, if you fail an ability check, you can treat the d20 roll as a 20. Once per short or long rest.
Meh.
That doesn't do anything for me.
I mean,
That's
it's kind of cool.
It's flavorfully, like if you were a full rogue, that makes a lot of sense.
The
But
fact
it's not
that-
something I dream of getting.
Right, the fact that at that point you've got 10d6 as your sneak attack damage, then yeah, I mean that's pretty good if you really need to hit something. But I would rather something that gets you more crits. Like 19 is a crit or something would be exponentially more useful. That's getting into a different realm.
The assassin
though.
actually does kind of do a thing like the death strike. Essentially, is like an ultra crit.
Death Strike. At 17th level, you become a master of instant death. When you attack and hit a creature that is surprised, it must make a Constitution saving throw. And a failed save, you double the damage of your attack against the creature.
So the
But that's
assassin
just-
class.
it's surprised.
The assassin class is kind of crap because everything leading up to it is kind of garbage. But that is a really cool ability. And as a druid, if you do the little dip to do the spider thing, it's hilarious.
Oh, that's really cool. And you can get that with a 3-level dip. So you 3-level dip in a druid, you do your little wild shape thing, get the surprise round,
What
and
are
then
you
just
losing? You're losing like
Nah.
2 pretty okay abilities, and
I think-
then maybe a sneak attack die
yeah,
to be a spider that falls from the ceiling and instantly kills the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
elusive. What's elusive? I feel like I haven't looked at a high-level rogue in forever. Elusive, beginning at 18th level, you are so evasive that attackers rarely gain the upper hand against you. No attack roll has advantage against you while you aren't incapacitated. How many times do people have advantage on you? I mean, it's not that it doesn't come up. It's just that
Depends.
I would much rather be able to turn into a spider and pop out and get
Yeah.
18d6 plus whatever your weapon damage is. And then your death cleric uses their or your grave cleric uses the invulnerability, and you've got 400 damage in one round at level 7.
And the Grave Cleric's also a spider.
Best surprise round ever.
And then a Druid Barbarian crashes through the window as an eagle.
And the Druid Paladin,
What's he do?
Eagle Smites.
Oh, Eagle Smites! Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Eagle Smites. So, yeah, this is actually interesting because this is the one Druid class that we were we were like, there is no wild shape viability here.
Correct.
Right.
You're just
It's-
fucking yourself out of whatever the rogue would give you.
Yeah, we've had a decent number of druids recently, and we've always seemed to struggle with them unless they get something that improves their wild shape.
Right. Then Circle of the Moon's an easy pick.
Yeah, because as we said before, if you're Circle of the Moon, your wild shape feels like it's just barely keeping up with the power curve of the game.
Right.
And so if you're delaying that progression for any reason, you better get something good out of it, like the ability to rage or the ability to smite as that stuff.
Right.
With rogue, I guess you could use cunning action. I mean, I guess you could do that while wild shaped. You could disengage as a bonus action as a bear or whatever, but
You can hide as a bear.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, or panther, but sure, we'll go bear. Because of course you can only turn into eagles or bears. That's
Ducks underneath the log.
I can still see you. No, you can't.
It's like Winnie the Pooh butt sticking out the log.
No, I mean, in general, cunning actions is just a great thing to add for anybody. No class has a better use of their bonus action, in my opinion, than rogues do. Because every single turn, they can hide, they can dash, they can disengage. Being able to disengage as a bonus action,
It's huge.
yeah, I was going to say is underrated, but who's underrating that?
Nobody.
Idiots.
Right.
Idiots are
I
underrating
mean,
that.
hell, just remember our last horrifying
Oh
experience.
my god. Oh, yeah, we fought Jublex. And
in big quotation marks.
yeah, yes.
As a level 8 party. Julix is the challenge rating 23 Demon Lord of Oozes.
Yeah, so if we were able to just disengage as a bonus action, we would have gotten right past him. No problem.
Anybody being able to do that would have been hugely beneficial for us.
Yeah. But instead I almost died.
But we didn't.
We
Yeah,
didn't.
you guys got away.
I was really surprised. I'm so tired of things doing 60 damage in one round.
It was challenge rating 23.
I know. I totally understand that. But it's just so debilitating where I'm just like, yes, I've built up this really cool character. I'm not shitting on your encounter. I totally know why you said you rolled on the random encounter table. You got it. That's fine. It was a fun, interesting fight because of the fact that we couldn't really fight back. Totally fine. But oh my god, does it suck when you're like, okay, I'm at basically full health. I think I'll be fine for another round. And then I just snap your fingers, 60-something damage. And it's like, nope, I'm down. Just nothing to do.
You had like a ridiculously good hit or two on the front end of that. And I was like, wow, we might actually be able to take it down. And I looked at the stat block. No.
I did not look at the stat block because I know that challenge rating 23.
Once you get to 23, everything's got recovery of some kind of sort.
Yeah.
So everything you do is over in a turn
You
and
just
a half.
happen to fuck with that.
Oh, radiant damage?
Radiant or
Well,
fire.
don't tell me that. We might fight Jublex again.
They are not immune to fire.
But yeah, I mean, regardless, like at level 8, just the fact that it could decimate us with 60 points of damage. Later, you did 70-something to our wizard, which is her full health, like stuff like that. It's just, even if we're like, we can do some damage to it, at some point it's going to get lucky. Lucky, I say in big old air quotes. At some point, we're going to get unlucky and not roll the save, and we're going to get completely destroyed.
Right.
That was interesting. I really like the fact that we had one of those combats, though.
Yeah.
Because and I'm sure that's why you kept it in. It's because there hasn't been many that we have had to run away from. Though I was almost a little disappointed in your expectations of us when you started it and you went, so this is Jublex. You all know that he's a lot more powerful than you. And I'm like, Kevin, I know we're supposed to run away.
I don't know. Like some people at the table would have known that less. And even us, we might have been a bit more arrogant till that 60 hit the table,
Yeah. And it outclassed you by so much. I would say even for role-playing purposes, your characters will look upon this and realize this is beyond me. It is time to run.
Right.
This is a Gandalf in the Balrog moment. It's just
Gandalf
time to go.
Beat the Balrog.
Yeah, and we don't have a Gandalf.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Gandalf Balrog moment, but you don't have Gandalf.
Here's why Lord of the Rings was the worst D&D campaign ever. So a bunch of level 1, rogues, maybe fighters, are teamed up with a level 20 wizard. That's not fun for the table.
No, it's really not. All the encounters were totally unbalanced.
Completely unbalanced.
As the wizard just kind of sat back and was like, this is your dirty.
We could actually spec it out. Like it really was unbalanced. The hobbits were so underleveled.
Fucking DMPCs. This is an interesting class, though.
The Spore Druid actually does throw a huge wrench into the general non-functionality of Druid multi-classes.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's been good for multi-classing.
It is, yeah.
It's perfect for it.
Because, it's not relying on the wild shape.
Right. Yeah. Now, what do we feel about a coastal land druid and the swashbuckler? Not land. Yeah. Coastal circle. Yeah.
Circle with the land who's from the coast.
Yes.
There you go.
Who is a swashbuckler. So a pirate druid. He's got a parrot familiar.
In realistic practicality, the ability to become a fish would be huge as a sailor.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Huge.
Like an alligator or something?
No, I'm talking about like an actual fish.
An alligator is a fish.
Kevin, is that true?
It's not true.
What are they then?
Mammals.
Mammals? How do they breathe water?
Platypus breathes water.
Platypus? Oh man, those are birds, man.
They're reptiles. Also, they don't breathe water. They don't have gills.
That's the part that you take issue with. Not alligators being mammals or fish or whatever. It's the fact that platypi can't breathe water.
No, alligators can't breathe water.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I mean,
they're lizards. They're lizards. We're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
They're reptiles?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's just doing that weird thing where he pretends to be dumb.
Which one of us?
All of us.
I don't know.
It's got derailed.
The coastal druid, I don't know.
Swashbuckler means that you now have to throw charisma into the mix, and that's going to be
That's
annoying.
dumb.
So
It's
that's
also
never
not
a good
great class. Turning into a fish is useful. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think all of these really do rely on you kind of keeping that idea of the opportunity attack, which not the mechanic opportunity attack, but that time that's the perfect time to strike. And I don't think any of these fit better than the assassin for that, but all of them still work well with it.
Yeah.
So you can go thief, sure, and you can climb them up walls, but why?
No, that's a super why. The thief is even more outclassed by a spider.
Yeah.
Like
No,
all
totally.
Of this shit is spider. Like being a spider.
Yeah, you can use your cunning action to disarm a trap or open a lock, or take the use an object action, which that part's pretty nice. just the use an object action.
I mean, that's actually screwed us a lot, but it's also pretty esoteric.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could climb better.
Spider.
Yeah.
Spider. Just spider.
So I like the idea of a assassin abandoning the roguish way to learn the ways of a druid of some sort.
The reverse of it, where they're like, I'm so tired of society, I'm going to move out into the woods and become one with nature, but still hold on to the fact that I can climb walls and kill people.
No, as an assassin.
Okay.
To become the spider assassin.
Oh.
It's kind of tough to flavor that. It's like, why is a level 17 assassin dipping into a druid class?
Yeah, you're gonna
to turn into a spider.
You're gonna be pretty hard pressed for that one.
He's gonna have to con a druid circle into being like, oh, this guy totally wants to reform. It's like, just kidding, I want to be an evil spider.
That could happen though.
Yeah, good.
I know. I think we had cleric rogue, and we talked about can they con their way into the cleric powers, and not really, but
as a PC, you can do anything.
That one's harder because you are trying to trick a god.
Who's gonna know? And then we talked about the god kind of let him get away with it's trying to reform him, blah blah blah. But with druid, you're not getting powers from a god. You're not a cleric.
Right. You're learning to tap into nature.
So and you're learning that skill from other individuals who are fallible and can be lied to. So that could be interesting.
Okay. All right. So
you conned your way into a druid circle to learn the secrets.
Tricked you. I can turn into a spider now. I don't even care about nature. Just chops down a tree, turns into a spider, and runs away.
Throws a fast food wrapper, just like as he chaotic stupid.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's actually turned out a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah. And again, if you don't even want to focus on the spider assassin stuff that we keep going back to, I feel like we're almost always struggling with druid, even ignoring the wild shape thing and slowing that down if you're looking at the more castery aspects. And I think it comes down to druids are just super versatile. They just kind of fill what role they need. They don't do crazy amounts of damage. They don't do crazy amounts of healing, though they can if you specifically spec it for that. And
right.
So usually if you multi-class a lot, you're looking for these two things like to synergize together to push this character concept to like the extreme of something.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen with a druid without like using some silly things like assassin spiders or eagle smites or whatever.
Right.
So if you're druid and multi-class and the rogue and you kind of mix them, it's like you still have the versatility of a druid who's a little worse at everything else, but a little better at engaging in martial combat with sneak attack and getting away and things like that. It's just another kind of way to flavor it.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
So overall, I'm not in love with it.
Not in love. No.
That keeps happening with the druids. It's like, it's lukewarm.
I totally agree. I think they're probably the most lukewarm class to multi-class with. There hasn't been any time.
Short of the... Yeah, but even still, that's again like the paladin or the barbarian where you can rage or smite. But even still, it's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah,
it's not like that great to slow down your wild magic shape progression.
No, or your paladin progression, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, I'm never gonna.
Wait.
What?
Wild magic shape.
What?
Oh, did I say wild magic shape?
You did say wild magic
mixing
shape.
out the wild magic sorcerer.
You'll find more about that on the Sorcerer.
It's like you combine dresser and drawer.
Oh, yeah.
Or just homebrew. Every time you use it, you get the roll on the wild magic sorcerer table.
Did we make a dumb name for this one yet?
The Druid Rogue.
Yeah, for the Druid Rogue.
You have one.
The Raguid.
Not the Drogue. The Druid. Wait, Raguid? Raguid.
You got to get the goo in there.
Right. Nice and gooey Ragu.
So this is the Raguid. I'm now excited for the Sorcerer. Because I really do think like Wild Magic Homebrew is probably the most underappreciated thing that hasn't been done yet. Like imagine the Wild Magic Shape table.
Oh.
You can have everything from a slug to an ancient red dragon.
Oh my
if
god.
If you really want to play it like that.
Okay. Yeah, let's just save this idea because that's going to be pretty good.
It's going to be incredible.
Anything else about the Raguid?
Not really. I like it. I like it a little more than I did, I don't know, 20 minutes ago?
I like it for the assassin thing.
Right.
But again, it's still kind of gimmicky. Once every few sessions, I think you would get use out of it. But for the most part...
I also actually really like the flavor of the... We did this last time. urbanifying the nature classes is I find that interesting.
Yeah. I give you, some of the flavor options were cool that we covered. I'll give you that.
But yeah, mechanically,
Yeah, lukewarm. It's just like
pretty meh.
if you're really feeling it for whatever reason, you have one of those character concepts you really want to go after. Multiclassing, these guys will do it. Sure, I guess.
Right, you're not shooting yourself in the foot. You're just not really. You're not optimized in any way, which is fine. You know, this is not an optimization podcast. This is a can you do it podcast. I think you can do it. I don't think you're going to have the best character.
This gets a 17 out of 40.
I was going to say a 35 out of 83.
So we're on the same page.
Blue out of green.
So it's missing the yellow.
This is the diversity of opinion that you can find at Monsters and Multiclass.
Basically, we don't like to rate these because it does also depend on your table and your party composition and what you go for and blah, 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 blah. So we're not just going to give a very single just rating of the stuff.
14 out of 40 doesn't sound like a single rating to me. Okay, cool.
They could move on.
Yep. Before we do that, our usual self-promotion time. So if you have not yet, go ahead and follow us on Twitter. We are monsters_multi. From there, you can keep up on updates that we have, like what monster we're going to do next week, because nobody listens to our final 10 seconds where it says, oh, join us next week as we talk about blah, blah, blah. I'm rambling again. I'm sorry. Follow us on Twitter. You can let us know monster suggestions. You can talk to us about D&D stuff. You can ask me about your campaign. Be like, hey, I want to do this. Do you think it's a good idea? And I can be like, it sounds like an okay idea, but I think you should do this. I'm getting looks. A lot of looks today.
He does that on Twitter, actually. Though.
Yeah.
So if you do want campaign advice, it's the place to go.
Or go ahead and email us at monstersandmulticlass@gmail.com. Subscribe to us wherever you can, and just know that Kevin loves each and every one of you.
I do. It's weird.
Why?
Every night he scrolls through our Twitter followers and he's like, oh, such beautiful souls. Okay, enough self-promotion. Let's move on to our monster of the week.
This week's monster is the Orthon from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, a devil mercenary of sorts. This is the hunter that's hired by archdukes when they need someone found, or maybe found and then killed. A hulking beast carrying a infernal dagger and a brass crossbow that fires a rotating type of bolt. Each effect probably a little more terrifying than the last. It is a great thing to throw at a party that's pissed somebody off. That is for sure. So what do you guys think about the Orthon?
That they're super cool. Challenge rating 10, but something that would probably be in a single combat. So you're talking about a party of probably level 7s or so might face this thing. Mm-hmm. It's got really great saves across the board. Plus 7 to Dex, plus 9 to Constitution, plus 6 to Wisdom. So your Toll the Dead isn't going to destroy its day. But it just right off the bat, one of my favorite things about it is something we brought up when talking about the Shatter Kai, is that it has explosive retribution, which we'll talk about the details later. But the point is that when it gets low health, it explodes and destroys its dagger and its brass crossbow, so that your party cannot pick up these extremely overpowered weapons after it dies.
Yeah, and I really like that they brought that up, because this is another example. This is probably the second since the Shatter Kai, where these are not obviously weapons that are tied to it. It's carrying this infernal dagger. It's carrying this brass crossbow. It's a large fiend, so they're bigger than normal, but they still got one hell of a wallop on both of them.
I was waiting for Kevin.
Me? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Kevin,
I'm really hung up on how this thing looks.
What about
I love the stat block, and we'll dive into it and how to play it. But this picture, it's based on the stat block and the lore around it. I'm picturing some like fiendishly evil looking thing that's like sneaky behind the scene tracks and hits really hard. And you got this like big dopey looking thing with a cape on.
I don't think it,
the cape is a little silly.
All right.
Yeah, it's like
you guys are being dicks.
I
I think the cape looks regal.
I get this Captain Underpants vibe from it.
Oh
it
my
does
God.
actually
Remember that
kind of
book?
look like a Captain Underpants villain.
Yeah.
But I think what they were going for is this kind of like hulking hunter, because it is got invisibility for free.
Yeah,
For
plus 10
fucking
to,
free.
plus 11 to stealth.
When you say for free, you mean as a bonus action, but still, that's free. That's as free can
And
get.
he's straight up invisible. And it kind of reminds me of almost like a British hunter. The flavor text is that they like to hunt.
Oh, like most dangerous game?
Yeah, they want you to run. They want you to flee this guy. This guy is a perfect example of a one-on-one combat, most likely. Maybe he'd have some kind of demonic hunting dogs.
Right.
But this guy is going to get the drop on you every time.
Right.
That is kind of the flavor of him.
Yeah, and it actually lets you kind of set up a bit of a fight and an encounter. Kevin, don't just show me the picture of it.
Why I can't show other people the picture of it. So look it up and zoom in on its face.
It's got a weird skull face, and it looks like somebody took the orc tusks and just like injected them with steroids so that they went way too large.
And they're not even coming out of his mouth. They're coming out of like the back of his, like
It's
the front of his
cheekbones.
neck. It's like his cheekbones became...
You can't just zoom in more on its face and expect it to be
that's,
funny.
that's a pretty standard meme format. I can.
Yeah, the design of this guy, I don't know. It's
My teaser will just be that then. It'll just be zooming in on the Orthon's
Just
face.
takes-
Yeah,
takes
3
a
separate
shot of this.
pictures.
He looks very unhappy.
But I still think it's pretty terrifying. It looks like a large orc that was less green.
Look at this guy's arms, though.
They're huge.
Yeah, he
They're like-
clearly...
Like Marcus Phoenix looks at this guy and is like, where does he work out?
It
what I'll
doesn't
say...
really even have pants on.
Oh, Kevin, it's got a belt.
Yeah. It's got a belt that like covers.
It's got a
its
really
groin,
edgy
and that's
belt.
it.
And to hide his fucking massive schlong.
He probably does.
Sorry.
have a massive
What I
belt.
wanted to talk
So
about,
he's basically
by the
standing there in
way,
shorts and a cape.
the fact that it
He's
has...
Captain Underpants.
Shut up, Kevin. Captain
very-
Underpants doesn't have the tracking ability. So his Infernal Crossbow has 6 different abilities that you can choose from. You don't roll it randomly, though I guess you could if you wanted to. But number 6 is the ability to track somebody for the next 24 hours, which I think makes it really cool if he is trying to hunt down your party and your party's a little bit outclassed. I could see him just like basically firing a bolt into one of your party members and it just like instantly sinks into their skin and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, that's perfect spook right there. And
Right.
We're only talking about 2d templates, 3 damage. That's not
Right.
a whole
Nope,
lot.
absolutely not.
But it hits, your wizard, and your wizard's now like down on health, and everybody's freaking out. Why'd that bolt sink into them?
Right.
It's like now they kind of know
Yeah.
what's about to happen.
And it's perfect tracking. The direction and distance of the target at all times. Even if it's not on your plane of existence, you then know what plane of existence it's on.
Right.
Which this thing being a devil could probably easily travel to and then know exactly where to go.
Right. So I'm trying to think of how you would actually use that and not have your party immediately engage. So that's my first question is, so let's say the Orthon comes at the end of a fight and just takes a shot into one of your party members and then what? They just like run, they just like kind of hide off.
He's
like
got a
they-
100-foot range.
I think that honestly would be it. Don't you think? Like they would almost they would run away themselves. Maybe not run away isn't the right word.
If they tried to track him down, it's not hard to say he got away. He can turn invisible pretty instantly. He's not slow.
maybe
And he could shoot the crossbow from up to 400 feet away.
maybe they don't even need to see him.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
he's I like to think after a fight, I don't know why, that's really not important. Maybe you're just traveling in wherever. Again, it doesn't need to be the 9 hells. This thing is totally fine to go to different planes. But you're just wandering around and out of nowhere, one of your party members just takes a hit and they're like, what the hell just happened? And you can describe how they see a crossbow bolt that is dug into their shoulder. And as they try and like pull it out, it just starts to crawl into them and dissipates. You can't cut it out. It's nothing you can do there. It's just now a part of you. And you're like, guys, what do we do? And
Right.
the only option is, I guess, let's keep moving and just hope nothing bad happens.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much so this thing's hunting your party or tracking them for whatever reason. And it finally finds them in like a city where it knows it can't engage.
Right.
So it's invisible. It's 400 feet away and it shoots its crossbow bolt. So 400 feet would be in the disadvantage range.
Right.
But invisibility gives it advantage on the attack roll. So
And
it's
more
just going to be
importantly,
a regular attack.
it's a flavor thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
But, yeah.
if you even want to just like, you're like, oh,
As
okay.
a DM, fudge that roll.
Just say it,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And then, it fires it, and then as its bonus action, immediately turns back invisible. And now tracks it, waits for an opportune time.
Yeah, give them a really high perception check. If they see it, they see this horrible Captain Underpants
For like a
figure
second, and then he...
slow grinning while aiming at you, and then gone.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's terrifying. That puts a sense of unease on your party, because they're like, okay, we've got something to do. We need to go do it, but
Right.
something is hunting us in a really weird way that they're not going to know right away.
Yeah.
It's
and then
tracking.
your party just going to freak out about that crossbow bolt
Mm-hmm.
merging into their skin.
Mm-hmm. And they're
It's
just
like,
think
oh,
about it.
shit.
Yeah, we just made
Like,
that up.
what?
That is really good flavor
Yeah.
for that.
I just made
I
that up.
really doubt any,
Give me credit.
any player's mind's going to go to, oh, it's obviously just trying to track me.
Mhm.
Thinking, is this going to like slowly kill me over time?
Right.
Is
Am
it
I
trying to-
cursed?
Yeah, it's turning me
Ooh,
into something.
That actually would be cool too, is like you make like a curse mark of sorts that like, appears on them. And now they're like, what is this weird necrotic symbol on me?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like just something like that. Again, just put that paranoia in their heads.
Yeah, is this like a doom tracker? Am I going to die by the dawn of the third day or something? Or?
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be cool. I like that a lot. And when it actually is in combat, it has 5 other abilities that can mess your party's day up. So starting at the first one here with the Infernal Crossbow is Acid. This one,
And just to clarify real quick. So
Yeah.
it's a crossbow you shoot, it's +7 to hit. Nothing crazy there. 2 to 10 +3. And then you pick one of these 6 effects.
right. And again,
to
pick.
apply.
You
Yeah.
do not roll randomly
Right.
as stated. Again, if you want to, go for it. But it would actually not make too much sense. So first one here is unlimited use and its main damage dealer. The target, it's Acid. The target makes a DC 17 con saving throw, and they take an additional 5d6 acid damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. So that's a lot of damage every single round. Does it have multi-attack?
No.
It doesn't. Okay. The next one is Blindness. The target takes 1d10 radiant damage. In addition, the target and all other creatures within 20 feet of it must make a DC 17 dex saving throw or be blinded until the end of the Orthon's next turn. So it's going to get an advantage attack on whoever it attacks next, if whoever fails.
That's a
and they're
fairly
gonna have
decent
disadvantage.
escape as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And that's a 1 a day ability.
Right, that one is limited, so you're only going to be able to use that once, but it is going to pack a punch. Next is Concussion. The target and each creature within 20 feet of it must make a con saving throw, DC 17. All of these are DC 17. I'm going to stop repeating that. Or take 2d12 thunder damage, half as much on a successful one. So that's like an AoE attack that rivals the acid attack in damage if you have people clustered up.
Right.
Which is really good.
Yeah, and it's D12s.
Right. I almost wish that it pushed people away in some way.
That was what I was thinking, but it is an AoE. So.
Yeah, it's not important, but it's something. Number 4, Entanglement. Once again, not limited to any resource. Makes a dex saving throw or it's restrained for 1 hour. Restrained creature can escape by using an action to make a successful dexterity or strength check. Any creature that touches that creature also has to make a dexterity saving throw or become restrained.
Yeah, other than the Orthon. The Orthon could just pick them up and walk away.
Correct. So if you've got an NPC or, a party member who's going to be gone for the next week and you want to keep playing, then you shoot them with one of these restraints and you just pick them up, blind the rest of the party, and you just turn invisible, which I don't think that would turn everybody else invisible too. It wouldn't.
Wears or carries?
Any
Oh,
equipment.
I don't know, man.
for flavor, I'd let it
Sure.
go. In combat, in like a serious situation, I would not say, "Oh, you picked him up and turned him invisible. You can't heal your unconscious friend." That's douchey. But again, for flavor, you want to pull somebody out of the game for a week, or it's an NPC, whatever it might be. You need to take them out and make it now a capture mission. Then perfect way to do that. You restrain them, pick them up, turn invisible, get the hell out of there, and it's difficult. Something to deal with. Next one is Paralysis. This one is a once-a-day ability. The target takes 4d10 lightning damage and must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. They can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of their turns. So a hold person bolt that also does an additional 4d10 damage Not bad. Not
That's like looking at it, because this is kind of bringing the Infernal Dagger. Less impressive, but it is a 2d4 plus 6 slashing damage. And they make a con save, 17 again, or take 4d10 poison damage and become poisoned. Now that's going to be, if they hit them after the paralysis, that's going to be the crit for both those rolls.
Oh, so we're talking now 44 plus 8d10 poison damage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is flavorfully and mechanically a very brutal turn.
Yeah.
You get paralyzed and then just run through with his dagger. He may be goofy looking, but both of his weapons are actually very cool and well designed.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Definitely.
This dagger looks like a giant meat cleaver, and it's got the punch knuckles on it. It's got a grip with spikes on it. It's perfect. You can really, really flavor this combat very well.
All right. So then we do get into its reactions, which I kind of hinted at earlier, which is when it's reduced to 15 HP or fewer, the Orthon causes itself to explode. All other creatures within 30 feet of it must each make a DC 17 Dex saving throw, taking 2d8 fire damage plus 2d8 thunder damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Then the explosion destroys the Orthon, the Infernal Dagger, and the Brass Crossbow. So that's kind of cool. One thing that I'll note is it says Brass Crossbow here, but in the actions, it calls it an Infernal Crossbow.
Are you on D&D Beyond?
I am on D&D Beyond.
Because in the book, it is Brass Crossbow.
Ooh.
So that is a mistake on...
D&D Beyond.
Some web developer fucked this up. And as a web developer, I can tell you, never trust those guys.
So it's explosive. I wish it was more damage. It ultimately does 48.
So
right. It's not that much.
This is what I'll say. We've actually had a couple that have had this.
The Baylor.
There isn't a lot of fun to be had blowing up your party after they win. There is some fun to be had injuring them more or maybe taking out the weakest guy, but like if it's, we always think of it like, I want this to be catastrophic, but it could be a TPK after the victory, which is horrible. And
That's true. Yeah.
And that's not fun for anybody involved unless you play one-offs and stuff like that.
So I think...
Or it's a known thing. You're fighting... That there's an issue of like a swarm of these enemies attacking a town. It's a known thing. They blow up when they die. So, hey, deal with that.
This guy would be a very, very unknown.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And you know what's interesting about it, though, is if it does become known, which I agree, I don't think it's really something that your party's going to fight multiple times, but that's a reaction. If you take away its reaction, it can't do that.
Ooh,
Which is
interesting.
kind of interesting because then, if you ask me, it sounds like it leaves its Infernal Dagger and the Brass Crossbow.
And here we are, like, re-adding this thing that I brought up whatever episode ago.
Shadarkai, yeah.
Do we get these weapons? There's no reason we shouldn't, right?
They're just too big. That's the only issue.
There's no reason a one-handed large dagger couldn't be wielded with two hands. And it's still, with the bonus thing it's got, it's way competing with anything else on the market.
Yeah.
2d4 plus, that's obviously a strength, but
Right.
2d4 is not going to beat a greatsword, but the
No.
poison, holy shit.
40-10 still, and it's a con saving throw, 17, which is pretty high, but on a fail, does it take any? It takes half damage, and then it's not poison for the minute. You know, it's...
Mechanically, don't give that to your party. But
Yeah.
this almost hints like you can.
Unless, don't give it to your
Yeah.
party unless they're level 12 anyways, in which case that dagger isn't that crazy. It's some damage, it's a lot of damage, but you're already at that point.
It's pretty crazy. Every attack.
Every attack.
And then your party's going to have extra attacks or stuff.
Okay.
Imagine giving that to a fighter at level 12 who now has 3 attacks.
3 attacks.
Yeah, no, you have to
Okay.
you have to respect the entire
You
thing.
have to respect it.
Yeah. No, I would just hand wave it away saying
Of course you would, Kevin.
these weapons are inert in anything except for the Orthon's hands. They're just like anything else. They're kind of big. They're unwieldy. It's just not worth it.
I would take a different approach with the dagger specifically and probably just nerf it a little bit. Because I think it could be pretty cool. If somebody figures out that if we find a way to take away its reaction, Shocking Grasp, and then kill it, then sure, you can take a little bit of a reward. Maybe the Infernal Crossbow is Brass Crossbow. Damn you, D&D Beyond and that one web developer. That's probably a little strong. Letting your party do 5d6 acid damage every single turn.
And a
plus
crossbow
2d10.
that does 2d10 plus 3.
Right.
Yeah, the brass crossbow is off the chain overpowered.
But I think the Infernal Dagger, you could find some middle ground there that makes it cool. It rewards them for finding a way to kill this thing by taking away its reaction and not causing it to explode. And you get a fun little treat for that.
Counter, this is my middle way weirdness. The reward is going to be
The friends you make along the way.
No, those never last. Don't fall for that lie. The setup for this would be a collector of sorts looking for these things. They cannot really be used by your party. They're not as useful, but they still have immense value. So you talk to some... I'm almost picturing a British hunter who's almost like competing with this guy.
Right.
He wants to get the most dangerous game.
Right.
And this guy, as an infernal demon hopping from hell, always has an advantage. But he's like, if I could get that brass crossbow, I could finally feel complete.
That's kind of a dick move, though, because if his whole thing is he's a hunter, shouldn't he be hunting the Orthon?
Yes, but he's a quest giver. They can't control when the exclamation point appears over their head. But yeah, he'd be like, yeah, he's going to explode and take it all with him. So you've got to make sure that you take away that ability, bring him down.
Yeah.
And then you get a bonus reward if you kill him. The hunter's just like, oh yeah, here's your 50 gold or whatever crap reward. But if you bring him a brass crossbow, now you can give your players a +2 weapon and they won't be broken.
That's That's okay. That's a fair way to do it. You replace it. You go, okay, well, I had this. It was really great, but that's going to be a lot better. And I'm also going to spend the next 5 years learning how to use it because it takes that long. Wink. But here's a +2 weapon that gives you, I don't know, 1d10 acid damage.
Yeah, go for it. You can essentially just turn it into, you have to turn these in for the super bonus reward. Because Kevin's kind of right. These weapons aren't explicitly stated what they are and how they work, but this guy's obviously not a regular guy. He's got horns growing out of his cheeks.
And a derpy face.
And a derpy face. But I like him. I like this. This is like a devil version of the Jumanji-style hunter, in my opinion. He's got crazy equipment. And we didn't talk about this, but he's got half plate. The only half plate I see is covering his private parts.
His shoulders, too.
And his shoulders.
And his wrists.
Like underpants?
Yeah, like underpants.
Oh my God.
But his, core organs totally exposed. Classy stuff right there.
Right.
And he's only got 105 health. He's not exactly...
No, he's really not. The 17 AC is great, but 105 health isn't too amazing. I think it'd be
even
hard pressed. He's currently just pulled up a picture of Captain Underpants next to Orthon.
He's posing the exact same way.
Yeah.
Look at the toes. I honestly think the artist was joking and looked at this picture.
All right.
I would not be surprised if that's what happened.
I've got a Photoshop to do. But I think that this thing can... I think it'd be cool to give it some sort of devil dog, and there's tons of options for that. That would fit really well to give it some minions, because as we've talked about a billion times, your 4 party members, 5, 6, 20 party members, fighting a single creature is never going to end well for that creature.
Unless you balance it in a weird and dangerous way.
Right.
And then you're taking risks with people's precious characters.
Right.
So you got
Did you say give it a
dogs.
devil dog? I think that actually be really cool.
Yeah.
It is a hound, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
2, maybe 3. You could even have a mount if you really want to look into it.
It's large, so you'd need a huge...
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing.
That'd be pretty cool, though. I don't know what it would mount that's huge, but...
The frog hemoth.
Oh,
I
man.
don't know why. But
Wait, why?
Probably because
I
it's
don't
sitting
know.
on the table right now.
Yep.
Best mini.
I don't think devil dogs are a thing. A death dog.
Death dog.
Or
That's
there's
it.
like a hellhound.
There's things. That's
Yeah.
it. I'm not
They
trying to be
exist.
specific
We
here.
did not make this up.
So, yeah. I think there's some really cool stuff here. Oh, Displacer Beast.
Oh,
Is actually
Displacer
perfect
Beast
for
would be
this.
Perfect too.
Yeah, because they're stealthy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would probably want something stealthy.
Yeah, I think
Or
actually...
just leaves its hellhounds behind.
It's
Whatever.
Yeah, I like this guy. He's a smart devil hunter. I like the flavor of the weapons being more powerful than he is. Good suggestion. Thanks, guys.
Who suggested this?
I don't remember. One of you said it, didn't you?
I don't know. I've never
Did we not say it?
No, this.
We're terrible.
I thought we did.
I'm so sorry.
Uh,
I didn't present this one.
While
This isn't my fault.
while we wait, we're gonna talk to you about how much Will loves devils.
They're extreme.
Oh, this was Rat Boy 1337.
Rat Boy Leet,
Yeah.
Red Boy Elite.
That,
Thank you.
Twitter user, right?
Yep.
Okay, Rat Boy Leet. Thank you very much. This thing is super cool, so I'm really thankful for that suggestion.
Yeah, thanks for cutting off my devil rant.
It wasn't going anywhere good.
No, it was. I have a lot of thoughts on devils, but we'll get to that later.
Cool. Anything else about this chap?
Nope.
This fellow, this
No.
captain.
He's goofy
Underpants?
looking, but he's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin, if it makes you feel better, if you ever want to throw him in a campaign, just say he's wearing a shirt.
No, I'm okay that he's Captain Underpants.
I just want to make sure everyone recognizes
Yes.
the parallels.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, that's all we got, I believe. So thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Next week on Monsters and Multiclass.
Join us next time as we discuss the Barbarian Warlock. Probably make another stupid combination name for that one. And then the Balhanoth from Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. Taking a guess where all the good ones are from.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Join us next week.